Hey everybody, it's Gabe with Rocket Shipping, and I've got another market update Monday, and we're going to cover 3 topics real briefly. 1, Dave Clark, CEO of the consumer division of Amazon, is moving over to Flexport. 2, some speculation, doom and gloom versus tidal wave coming for import volumes, and that would be Freightwaves versus some other thought leaders not to be named. 3 is going to be just covering the fact that another SaaS startup, this time it's Convoy, laid off 7% of its workforce over the weekend, or announced they were going to, after raising $260 million on a series something. To start off, we got Dave Clark, been at Amazon since like the late 90s, worked his way up. He stood up a bajillion square feet of warehouse for Amazon, and he was the CEO of the consumer division. He announced he was going to be stepping down, and then it was announced that he was going to be taking over as CEO at Flexport. This I found pretty interesting because Ryan Peterson at Flexport is a very big name, well-known, high-profile logistics executive, and he was all over Forbes and the interviews during the pandemic about imports and containers and such. And so I thought it was pretty interesting that a startup like that he was going to step back and bring in Dave Clark, who is also an alpha, obviously well known for his expertise in basically everything logistics at Amazon. So they're going to be co-CEOs for 6 months. I don't know how that'll work. Ryan Peterson is going to step back into an executive vice chair, or maybe step up. I'm not sure. It is going to be good news for Flexport and bad news for their competitors, because that is some great experience that's going to come to that company, and I expect their market cap to go quite a bit higher, and I expect an IPO after that. Speculation between Freightwaves talking about import volumes. Specifically, they were keying off an article or a release from the Target CEO that they had too much inventory and low sales, and that their numbers were getting affected by that, coupled with the sonar data from Freightwaves saying that even though Shanghai had been locked down for 6 or 7 weeks, there was not going to be an impending boom of backed up containers. Instead, those had all kind of leaked out to other ports already and been rerouted. The expected uptick in containers is not coming. They said that's in the sonar data. They don't release their methods. They don't say how that actually is gotten, but that's their take on it. It's kind of doom and gloomy. And then you have the other side. There's several thought leaders on the other side of the equation saying, hey, Shanghai has been shut down. There is pent-up volume. We're going to see a surge in containers, and that companies are going to start ordering inventory for Christmas in July. Pay attention to that term, Christmas in July. You'll probably see it over the next few weeks or month here. You got 2 coins here. I'm not sure where I land on it. I kind of land in the middle. I do expect there not to be a tidal wave of containers coming in, because that's just kind of hyperbole. But I also don't think it's going to fall off of a cliff, as Freightwaves article clickbait kind of title says. It's probably going to land in the middle, as most things do. Consumer sentiment probably doesn't drive that as much as you would think right now, but in 90 to 120 days, consumer sentiment will drive inventory. Boards and executives make decisions based off of buying behavior and buying patterns. So I do expect that to have an effect this fall, but not right now. I think it's going to land in the middle. We'll have a nice little surge of containers coming in. It might not be as big as expected. Third topic would be Convoy. After raising $260 million, decided that it was time to lay off 7% of their workforce, mostly in tech jobs. Rocket Shipping's hiring tech if you're out there and you worked at Convoy, but also to cover the news of that, it just is another sign of things tightening up. Not necessarily that there's a freight recession coming, but that companies are going to start running a bit leaner. They're not necessarily in grow at all costs mode. Convoy was VC funded, probably them posturing for an IPO as well. So that's similar to Flexport. That's my take on it, is that they're kind of shrinking, even though they have cash reserves and raised $260 million. Leads me to think that they're just posturing for an IPO and better valuation, which is kind of how those companies run. You know, they're not looking for profit. They burn money every month. They're just trying to look for the highest valuation on an IPO. That's my 2 cents. We'll see you again tomorrow for Tech Talk Tuesday with Troy this time.